Hello everyone, and welcome to another Craftin Desert Divas new release highlight, this time featuring the scenery dies. This is a brand new die set this month, and when you first receive it, it's going to come connected by these small metal tabs. You are going to want to separate these dies. You can do that one of two ways. You can either use your wire snips or wire cutters and simply snip the metal wire between each dies. This is very easy to do. It doesn't take much pressure at all. You just give it a little snip with the tip of your wire cutters, and then it will come apart from the next die. Or you can simply bend the dies back and forth, and that's going to allow them to release from one another. You can see I'm doing it here. It takes a little bit of time, but it does separate. I'll show you one more time. All you need to do is bend the die back and forth right at where it connects to the metal tabs, and then it will release from the die next to it. Once you have all of your dies separated from one another, this is what it's going to look like. So you've got 8 individual dies in this set. You have 2 border dies, which are the mountain dies. There are 2 different sizes. You have one longer and one shorter, and the shorter one fits in all the little crevices of the taller one. So they fit perfectly together, so you can layer these up. And these dies do have stitching on both the top and the bottom of the cutting line, so you can do some great die cut inlay techniques. Now on the mountains, you can also add these little snow caps that are included in the die set. There are 2 different sizes, and they both have stitching detail on them as well. Next up is this half tree. This is designed to fit perfectly into the corner of your cards. Now this also has stitching detail on it, not only on the trunk and the base, but also up into the limbs as well. Now for this tree, there are also a few different add-ons that you can add to your tree. There are 2 different size leaves included in this set. They both have stitching detail on them. And then there's also this adorable little apple that also has stitching on it. And there is a closer look at all of the 8 dies you do get in this set, plus their stitching detail, which is the same as all the other Craftin Desert Divas dies, so you can mix and match with all of your other die sets to create some really amazing scenes. To use these dies, you are going to need a die cutting machine. Any die cutting machine that accepts wafer thin dies will work just fine. So I've got my Big Kick here. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my sandwich that I always use for my wafer thin dies, which is my multi-purpose platform, both tabs down. I'll go ahead and put down one cutting plate, a piece of paper. I'm using brown cardstock here. This is heavyweight cardstock. And then I'm going to place my tree die down. I want to make sure the cutting lines are facing the paper. Those are those raised edges on one side of the die. Place that on top of the paper, then another cutting plate, and then I'll run that through my die cutting machine. Now there are also the 2 mountain dies included in this set. You can use them as is and create some really great mountain ranges. However, I wanted to show you how you can lengthen them and make them fit your scrapbook pages and also your planner pages. So I have the shorter one here. I'm running this through a piece of gray cardstock. I've lined it up on the left-hand side there. And then once I run that through once, I'll go ahead and line the cutting edge up right where it left off and run this back through my die cutting machine again. Once this comes out, those cutting lines are going to meet up. Then I've got this extra long mountain range that I can make as long or as short as I want. So now that I've shown you how you can lengthen these dies, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the dies themselves. So you get 2 different widths of these mountain ranges. This first one is 5 3/8 inches across. You do get a stitching detail on both cutting edges. And also this second mountain range is 4 1/4 inches across. It fits perfectly into the crevices of the longer mountain range. You can use them separately, you can use them together. It really is very versatile. Then also included in this set are 2 snow caps to fit on top of your mountains. Both have the Craftin Desert Divas stitching detail, which fits perfectly with the mountain ranges. However, they are 2 different sizes, and they both have a little bit different details on them, just to kind of switch it up, so not every snow cap is going to look the same on your card. Now the next die in this set is this fabulous half tree. Now this also has the Craftin Desert Divas signature stitching on it, so it does match all the other dies in this set, as well as all of your other Craftin Desert Divas dies. Here's a nice close-up of that. You can see the stitching not only runs on the trunk and base of the tree, but also into the limbs as well. Now there are also some great add-ons that you can put onto your tree to dress it up. There are two different sizes of leaves. There's a larger one and a smaller one. You can use these together or separately. They both have the stitching detail on them as well. Now also included is this adorable little apple that you can use on your tree, and it has the stitching detail too. This tree is going to be perfect for all seasons. So during the winter, you can leave it plain, add a little bit of snow marker on a few places on the tree to dress it up. During the spring, you could add some flower die cuts with a few little leaves. During the summer, really fill it up with some nice green leaves. And for fall, you could do some falling leaves, some apples, different colors of leaves. It's going to be one of those dies you can use year-round, which I love. Here's a closer look at all of the dies in this set as well as their measurements. This photo will be over on the Craftin Desert Divas website, so if you have any questions about sizes, you can refer to this photo over there. So now that I've shown you the die set, let's go ahead and make a card with it. Here are the supplies that I'll be using on my card today, so you can refer back here if you have any questions. So I'm going to use all the die cuts that I showed you before. I've got the tree, the mountain ranges. I also have the leaves, the apples, and the snow caps. I die cut several more apples and leaves. I've got this slope from the Fall Borders die set. The grassy little border up there is from Outdoor Landscapes 2 die set. And I also have a Fancy Frames die set that I used to cut out that blue rectangle in the background. So to put my scenes together, I like to use a liquid glue. It allows me to have a little bit of play time to kind of mess around with the placement of things. Then I just place an acrylic block on top of whatever I am holding down, and that allows the glue to dry so nothing moves around. Another tool that really helps me in my die cut scenes is this Quick Sticks tool. It's brand new to the Craftin Desert Divas shop. It's a pretty cheap tool, but I tell you what, this thing has multiple uses. So that's what I'm going to be using to place all of my little die cuts down. So I place the mountain range down, the longer one, and back there. And then I'll go ahead and place the shorter one right in front, and you can see it just falls perfectly into where the mountains dip in the background. I'm adding snow caps on top of all of the mountain tops, and I'm using both sizes that are included in the die set. Now, once I have everything placed in the background, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next layer, which is this slope. I die cut that from green cardstock, and again, that is from the Fall Borders die set. Next up is this tree included in the die set, and I'm going to go ahead and place some liquid adhesive on the back of it and place it down into the bottom left-hand corner. This does hang off the top a little bit, but I like that look here. I think it really draws attention to that tree and the scene in general. Now on this tree, I am going to add a whole bunch of leaves. I'm going for an apple tree here, so I didn't die cut different colors of leaves. But again, like I said, if you wanted to make this into a spring card, all you need to do is cut out some flowers and add those onto your tree. You can die cut just plain green leaves for a summer card. For a fall card, die cut different colors of leaves and add those to the tree, and maybe a few on the ground as well. And then for a more winter scene, you can just add a white border in the background for a snowy hill. Then go ahead and use either a white gel pen on your tree, or you can use a snow marker that's also available in the Craftin Desert Divas shop to add some snow on top of the tree limbs. This is going to be one of those very versatile dies that you can use all through the year. So after I got all of my leaves placed, I went ahead and started adding the apples. Now, these right now are just plain red, but I am going to come back in and add a little brown to the top of them with an alcohol marker. But first I went ahead and placed down that grassy border right on the very bottom, and that's going to finish off my scene. Now once I have everything placed, I placed an acrylic block right on top of that and let that dry for several minutes before I came back. Now here I'm using a brown alcohol marker to color in the tops, the little stems of those apples. That's just going to help them look a little bit more realistic without having to die cut each apple from brown cardstock as well. Just a little trick to save me a little bit of time. Now once that was done, that pretty much finished off the scene, so now it was time to put the card together. So on the back of this background, the blue rectangle, I'm going to put some more liquid adhesive, and then I'll go ahead and place this right down onto another scalloped rectangle die. This is from that fancy frame set as well. I die cut it from craft cardstock. Then that entire piece I'm going to go ahead and attach to an A2 top folding card base that I made from white cardstock. I've got some double-sided adhesive on the back of it. I'll place it down. So the only thing left to do on this card is to add the sentiment. I stamped "Thank You" from the Simply Said stamp set and some brown dye ink onto a flag banner die cut. I went ahead and popped that up with some dimensional adhesive right in the center of the card, and then I decided to add just a few little clouds in the top right hand corner to kind of help pull the entire scene together and just to add a little bit more interest in that top right hand corner since the tree is pretty large in the left. So once that was finished, that completely finished off the card. There is a closer look at the finished card and just all the great detail you get from this new die set. Now this is just one way to make a card with this brand new die set, but the entire design team has been busy with this brand new die set as well. They've got some great inspiration for you. Michelle used the die set on 2 cards, both with the Yeti Fun stamp set. They're both so adorable. The one on the right is an interactive slider card with the little Yeti skating. EK used this brand new die set to create this gorgeous fall scene. She's got some leaves as well as an apple right underneath the tree where they look like they've fallen down. It's just absolutely stunning. Nancy used the mountains on her planner pages as well as the Yeti Fun stamp set to create these adorable winter scenes on her planner pages. Finally, Tony used the mountains white on a white background with some glitter on top to create this gorgeous clean and simple card along with the Yeti Fun stamp set. This new die set will be available for purchase on November 17th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Craftin Desert Divas online shop. That link will be in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.